Okay, so I think we can start. It's 12:05 already. So let me just share. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, right. So basically, today's session is going to cover a bit of the background work, right? You need to do. I won't say the non-technical because I mean it's still technical, right? But what I mean is basically every other thing you need to do in your career as a front-end developer, right? Um, from how to approach interviews, how to build your personal brand, right? Your portfolio, um, projects you've worked on, all of those little things. But I mean, they are quite necessary to be visible one, right? So let's okay. So let's start. So basically, two things, right, are necessary. First, before you decide, okay, I want to get into this, I like to ask people why. But I mean, for a whole lot of us, our why is maybe economical, right? It's based on, I mean, we need to make more money, right? And it's fine, it's totally fine. And but there should also be an intrinsic motivation, right? Maybe you just want to build things, right? You're a creative person, and I mean that's what helps you to survive on those days when you are struggling, because you are going to struggle, right? You will struggle. There will be very difficult days. Sorry. Okay. So there will be very, very difficult days where you fight bugs that that are looking very impossible, right? So we also need to have our why intact. Um, so with that, that leads us to what we should learn, right? Currently in the job market for front-end developers, we I would say React is up there when it comes to frameworks, right? One thing I do is I check job descriptions. I look at the technologies that they are mostly requiring, right? But React still tops it, right? But before you get to React, you need to know JavaScript, right? Which is the first thing here. Popular technologies. You need to know JavaScript, right? Then you can move to React. And in your spare time, you can decide, okay, I want to learn Angular or Vue.js. I mean, it's just good to know some of these other technologies because they might just give you an advantage in a job interview, right? So yeah. So the most popular framework currently is React. We need to like understand React, know React, build projects in React, so you can showcase it to potential employees that okay, this is what I have built. Although I'm still learning, but I've been able to do this and that, right? Because that's mostly what they're looking for if you're entering as a junior developer. It's majorly what you've been able to do, right? Um, so before we proceed, I think it's time we sorry, give me a minute. It's
Who
so
who
yes.
doesn't want to know about job market in front-end development?
What did you say? Hello, hello. You said something.
No,
Okay,
Nintendo is not.
okay, okay. Um, so please, guys, follow Brightflare on Instagram. Um, please, please kindly follow us. And the first three people to comment on the front end WhatsApp group will get airtime. So please, you guys are early birds. So it would really be nice if you can win the airtime, right? Please do that. Thank you. Um, so we've talked about trends. So it's very necessary. I mean, if you're learning Angular, please can you mute? Hello, guys. Please let's mute so that I don't get distracted. Thank you. So we've talked about market trends. So try to learn React. I mean, learning Angular and Vue.js. Yes, you might see opportunities, but they should be like an afterthought or like a second framework, so that you are marketable, right? So the next thing is building your resume, essential skills, projects to showcase. So it's very important that you build projects. Like I can't emphasize this. You need to build projects, no matter how small they are, right? It's necessary for you to get an entry level role because no one is going to want to hire you if you don't have something to showcase, right? But I mean, you'll be asking, oh, projects can I build as a front end developer? I mean, very basic things. You don't need to do much. A to-do app, a calendar app, um, maybe an app that tracks tasks. You know, um, they are try to build the landing page of a very popular website. It doesn't need to be perfect, but I mean, it shows that okay, this person is quite skilled, right? They've been trying to do something, right? And they are not just coming to say, okay, I need this job, right? And to build all of this, you need your HTML, your JavaScript, right? I would advise you start building projects first in vanilla JavaScript without using frameworks, right? What that does, it makes your foundation solid because React also still uses JavaScript, right? And you would face issues where your knowledge of basic JavaScript to be tested, even when you use this frameworks, right, and libraries. So you need to start with building with HTML, CSS, and pure JavaScript, right? Build a couple of projects. You don't have to build a whole lot. You can build two, three projects, right? There's also weather apps, right? Building a weather app application is also helpful because you then learn how to consume APIs, right? Because that's one of the requirements as a front end developer, right? You need to know how to use your Axios, your Fetch to consume endpoints, right? And the weather app endpoint is free and it will teach you, interacting with endpoints. Um, and then you can showcase your projects, right? They would usually ask, what have you been able to build most times? Um, and then also emphasize your ability to learn new technologies quickly. Yeah, because I won't lie to you, even senior developers do not know everything. And most times these job descriptions are usually very, should I say, verbose, and they just put a whole lot of jargons in it, right? It's most times it's to like stop some people from applying, but then it shouldn't stop you. Just apply. I mean, You can always say, "Oh, I don't know it, but I can learn." Right? There's no crime in that. Nobody knows it all. Right? There are a whole lot of technologies that you probably have not worked on, and you might not even get to work on. Right? So that ability to learn new things is crucial. So technical interviews. This part is tricky because you would need to be able to solve lead code challenges. So let me drop a couple of websites that would help you. Where's the chat now? Right. Okay, someone is in the chat section. Yeah. So leadcode.com. You will need this for preparing for technical interviews, right? There's also what's this website called? I don't use it these days again. Oh, I'll remember, but when I remember, I'm going to drop it in the chat. So basically, your technical interviews will require you to like solve a technical problem, right? Summing an array. Do you know how to sum items in an array, right? Um, can you remove duplicates from an array? These are very basic ones that most times for entry level roles usually come up. Um, remove duplicates. Which other one is very popular? Maybe count the occurrence of a particular item in an array, right? Um, those kind of questions you would see them in lead code, right? Lead code is a very very useful platform, right? You just go to lead code, start from the beginner level, the easy ones, right? So I don't know if I should do a bit of okay. Let me just show you guys how lead code looks. Let's see if we can look for a very easy um, question. So there are times I also do lead code, right, to stay sharp. So this is lead code. Please, guys, register for lead code is very important. So if you come to the problem list, great. So you can see a list of problems here, and they are all tagged. They all have tags. They are easy ones, they are medium, and they are hard ones. Please do not start with hard ones, right? It can be very discouraging, right? You would need a couple of tries to get them most times. Um, so it's better you start with easy and medium. And another thing is most organizations do not ask for these hard ones, right? Mostly medium questions. Only few ask for easy ones. Maybe they just want I don't know, a whole lot of people to get through the stages and all. But please don't start with hard questions. Start with the easy, the medium, right? So let's look at this easy one, two sum. So it says given an array of integers, norms, and an integer target, return indices of two numbers such that they add up to the target, right? So this is an array of numbers and this is the target, right? So they need two sums that would sum up to 9 from this list of arrays, um, this list of numbers in an array. Looking at this, right, we can tell that 2 and 7 would give us 9, right? No other addition is going to give us 9. So there are a couple of ways you can solve this, right? One way is you look through the most times they call this a brute force approach. You look through the numbers, right? And when you get the first number, 2, right? You minus 2 from the target, which is 9, and that should give you 7. Then you search for 7 in the array, right? So it's not that hard. It's just understanding the question. So the first thing you have to do is understand the question. What am I trying to do, right? So I'm trying to get two numbers that add up to 9. Basic maths, right? If the number is x, let's say x plus y equals 9, right? If I'm able to get x as 2, the equation will now be 2 plus y equals 9, right? So now for me to get y, which is the second number I'll add to get this 9, I only need to subtract um, y from 9. So it's going to be y equals 9 minus, you get. So basically that's how to solve this question, right? So understanding it first and then trying to break it down into smaller solvable pieces. You can write an algorithm and say, first, the first thing I need to do is find the first value. Say find the first number. You can say number 2 after getting the first number, comma, subtract right. Then number 3 will be search for result of the subtraction in the array majorly. So let me just write a quick solution using those steps. So you need to have steps in your head that you need to go through because there will really not be time. The first thing you need to do is understand what you're trying to do, and have steps in your head, right? Break it into steps because if you don't, what will happen is you'll be rushing, right? Because you don't know what next you're meant to do. Right? Just take a few minutes. Most times these technical interviews are timed. They are very brutal ones that would give you just maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, some an hour. Some they will just combine all of the technical questions and say, okay, solve all of this in 2 hours, 3 hours, right? So you need to like have those steps in your head so you're not confused on what next to do. So let's say I have numbers. I would just first say for each num, right? So I'm looping through the array, right, to get each number, right? So once I get one number, remember if you're looping through an array, it starts from an index of 0, right? So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So the first number I'm going to be getting in this array will be 2. So when I get 2, so I would say second. Okay, I know my target is 9, right? So I'm just going to say const results equal targets, which is 9, minus num, right? So here to be 9 minus 2, which is the first item in this array. So I'll now say if, remember conditionals, if the result of this subtraction, wait a minute, my mouse is, let me create another variable that will say is let's see, is, so naming is another problem when you're programming. You need to have the, like, name your variables properly. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the second number. I can just say is second number of sum, and say if result plus num equals target, return true, else return false. um Sorry, this might be a bit, um should I say, high level, but basically this is a conditional statement that says if the result of this subtraction, right, minusing the target from the first element here, which is 2, that's 9 minus 2. 9 minus 2 will be 7, right? So I'm saying if 7, the result, plus 2 is equal to the target, right? That means those two numbers sum up to the target. I should say it is the second number, which is true, else it is false. So I'm just going to say if this is true, if this is true, what did they say we should return? So let's go back to the question. You can return the answer in any other. Okay, I know that input to that exactly one something. Okay, can return. Let's see. So they expect the output to be, okay, the index, right? So remember, I said arrays are indexed starting from 0. So the output here is 0 and 1 because this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. So you are returning an array of the index, not the actual value, right? So in this case, what I'll do is I'll just add index to this calculation, right? And say index, right? So when I get this as true, as 7, when I get the result as 7, there's one thing I'm missing. There's one step. Remember, I need to search for where 7 is in the whole array. So I can just say index of, there's an array method that checks the index of a particular number, right? So that's why this particular instruction is very important. So they are telling you there are no duplicates in the array. So you only have 2 ones, appearing ones, 7 appearing ones, 11 appearing ones, 15 appearing ones. So that makes it even easier for us, right? So I can say the array is nums dot index of a result. So I've forgotten my steps. That's why I've missed that part. That's why it's very important to always remember your steps. So I can name this const index of second item. Right. So this is the index of the second item. Right. From here, I already get the index of this particular item, which is 2 here as 0. So I already have that as this index here. So what I can just do is return an array inside my conditional that says the index and then the index of the second. Let me just copy that. Right, index of second item, which in this case is 1. So 0 and 1. Right, so let's run this to see if we are correct. So before you submit, the platform allows you run the code. And most of the technical interviews you are going to be doing would have an environment, right? So you need to run the code and see if it passes the test cases that they've set up. Why is this not working? Is it because I'm not signed in? I think that's why. Okay, let's not lose our solution. Let me copy this and then sign in. Oh, okay, our solution is still there. So let's run this now, right? Oh, so you see, it says output undefined. What's happening? Yoda is not important. Hmm. So now this is where debugging comes in, right? So now there's a bug in this code saying the output is undefined. So it means we are not, it seems we are not outputting anything at the moment. So let's just start from putting console.log, right? That's the first step in debugging. Understanding what your variables are returning. So let's just start with console.log results, right? And I can target results to see what this particular variable is returning. I can do the same for the next one, right? Sorry, my mouse is a bit. I can see the index of second item. You don't necessarily have to follow these steps, right? If you know where the actual issue is starting from, I'm just doing this so you guys understand how debugging works. Say index of second item, right? Most importantly, I need to know if I'm entering this condition now, right? So I need to check what this is returning, right? Because if it's returning true, it returns this. But if it's false, I didn't add an else to handle the false case, right? So let's check what that is also returning. say is second number. Okay, so now let's run it again and see our logs. Great. So we can see the results here says 7, right? When we minus 2 from 9, we get 7, right? Then the next log, index of second item, that's correct also, that's 1. So 0, 1, that's correct. Then true is second number of sum. So it's saying it's true. So that means it's actually entering this. So why is this failing? Output undefined. We would see in the other cases, right? We are not. Wait a minute. Second number true. Result is 2. Yeah, so for 2, when we get to that,